Have you ever stopped to think, what if the thoughts inside your head weren't actually silent? What if every single memory, every little flash of inspiration, had its own unique sound? Well, in this explainer, we're going to do something pretty incredible. We're going to eavesdrop on the brain's hidden symphony.
Okay, so to even get started, we've got to challenge a really foundational idea, an idea that shaped neuroscience for like a century. And that's the assumption that our inner world, our thoughts, our feelings, is a completely silent, invisible process.
And believe me, this idea has some seriously deep roots. Just think back to pioneers like Hans Berger. He's the guy who gave us the first EEG way back in 1924. What he saw, and honestly, what we've been looking at ever since, were just silent visual patterns. You know the stuff. Jagged lines on paper, those colorful blobs on an fMRI screen, but never, ever any sound.
So what we're talking about here is a massive, fundamental shift in how we understand the mind. We're literally moving from just seeing it as a silent process, visualized through those static lines and blobs, to actually hearing its audible chatter. We're talking about a dynamic soundscape of real-time neural events. It's a total flip of our perception.
And all of this leads to a fascinating, and potentially game-changing question for the entire field of neuroscience.
So, how are we answering that question? Well, the key lies in this groundbreaking technology called the Spectral Events Toolbox. This is it. This is how we're starting to listen in.
Now, at the very heart of this technology is a concept called neural sonification. And yeah, it's pretty much as futuristic as it sounds. We are taking the raw electrical signals from our neurons and translating them into sound that we can actually hear.
Just try to imagine this for a second. Every thought you have, every memory, it's like a single note in this impossibly complex symphony. Sonification? Well, that's our way of finally getting to hear that music play out, moment by moment.
Okay, so how does this actually work? It sounds like science fiction, right? Well, it's a really clever process, and it's built on 4 distinct pillars that take us all the way from silent electricity to audible sound. And here they are. It's a 4-step process: acquisition, decomposition, detection, and finally, mapping. Think of it as this clear, logical pipeline that takes a raw brainwave and turns it into a meaningful sound.
Okay, so first up is acquisition. This is where scientists use these high-density sensors, you've probably seen them, like an EEG cap, to capture the brain's raw electrical rhythms. Then comes decomposition, and this part is just brilliant. It's kind of like a sound engineer separating a song into its different tracks, A really powerful algorithm goes in and isolates the constant background hum of the brain from these sharp, distinct event bursts. And those bursts, that's the important stuff. That's what represents specific thoughts or commands.
All right. Next up is detection. The system basically listens through that background hum to pinpoint those truly meaningful bursts of activity. It's a lot like trying to pick out a clear voice in a really loud, buzzing room. And then, the final step, mapping. This is the magic moment where those isolated neural events are translated directly into sound.
And what's so cool is that this translation isn't random at all. It's a direct, one-to-one reflection of the brain's activity. So for example, the frequency of the brainwave, how fast it's oscillating, that determines the pitch. Slower waves give you a deep bass sound, while faster waves create a high treble. The signal's power, its amplitude, that just controls the volume, how loud it is. And remember that background hum we talked about? Well, that influences the timbre. You can think of it as the difference between a note played on a piano versus a violin. It's what gives the sound its unique character, its texture.
Look, this technology is absolutely fascinating, for sure. But why does it matter? What are the real-world practical implications of actually listening to the brain?
The applications here are, well, they're profound. They could genuinely change lives. Just imagine a future where clinicians can diagnose and monitor disorders like epilepsy simply by listening for their unique sound signatures. No more needing years and years of training to interpret those super complex visual charts. Or think about this. We could use this for neurofeedback to help a brain literally rewire itself after an injury. We could even build more intuitive prosthetic limbs that feel like a natural extension of the body, controlled directly by the symphony of our thoughts. The possibilities are huge.
And here's the thing. It turns out our ears are naturally brilliant at picking up patterns in time, sometimes even better than our eyes are. So by adding sound to the picture, we're not replacing the visual analysis we've always done, not at all. We're enhancing it. We're creating a multisensory approach that plays to our brain's own natural strengths to understand, well, the brain itself. How cool is that?
And you have to remember, this is really just the beginning. We are on the absolute cusp of a whole new way of understanding the mind, one that finally engages a sense we've ignored for way, way too long.
Think about it. For over a century, we've essentially been watching a silent movie of the brain. And now, for the very first time, we're plugging in the sound. We're finally getting to hear the full symphony. So, all of this leaves us with one final, really tantalizing thought. This auditory portal to the mind, it's now open. The brain is speaking. And the biggest question of all is, what secrets is it about to tell us?